Sandy Says Read, and welcome to the channel. You guys, today we are going to do a review of cool books that we read in 2024, starting with a handful of books that I picked up, that I purchased at the Sunshine State Book Festival in January 2024, and moving on to the clock reading challenge, which I almost succeeded with in 2024. Are you ready? Okay, you guys, the first set of books that we're going to talk about is a few books that I purchased and brought to you guys from the Sunshine State Book Festival in 2024. It was late January 2024 that I attended. I was one of the authors there. There are still at least 2 books from that festival that I need to read and bring to you guys because, you know, why would I read all of those in one year, right? It's all good. They're coming to you. But we did read The Love Letter Ghost by M.E. Saladino. We did get that one read and brought to you in time for February Valentine's Day content. Okay, that wasn't really part of a challenge in 2024. It was, sorry guys, I'm going to be editing a little bit of wackiness out of this video because I do have a weird cough happening. Yeah. Welcome to winter in Florida. Okay, The Love Letter Ghost by M.E. Saladino. I brought that to you guys for some February Valentine's Day content, okay? So that one. And also the I'm in Love with Mothman in Love Book 1. This one by Paige Lavoie. I read and brought that one to you guys also in time for Valentine's Day. I thought that I might share this one or give this one to Michael Nost because he has a Mothman book as well. And we did read and review the Mothman book here in 2024. And then we interviewed Michael Nost here in a live stream. So you guys can go back and see all those fun things that we did with the Mothman. Oh gosh, I think we did this book for February Valentine's Day content, and then we spoke with Michael, which I want to say in June or July. I'm thinking June, and I will put a link to that live stream in the drop-down box below so you guys can see all the cool things that he had to say about writing and editing and publishing and even movie making, because his book was made into a movie. So brought you that. I did not give this book to Michael. First of all, I didn't get to go to Imaginarium because of travel difficulties in July, so I didn't see him this year to give him this book. And second, once I got into this book, the level of spice was a little uncomfortable, and I felt weird about gifting this book to a married man. Even though, I mean, Michael is a nice guy. I don't think he would have taken it in a weird way, but I just felt weird. So I did not give this book to him. There we go. But we did read that for February content here on the channel. Also from the Sunshine State Book Festival, I picked up and then brought to you guys at the beginning of yesterday. And this is a Literary Titan Book Award winner. It's a poetry chapbook by Tiffany Rose Allen. And we discussed this during April, which is Poetry Month. We looked at this one here on the channel in April. A very nice, very lovely little chapbook, which I can recommend. Then in September, I read Dreams of Desolation going into October so that I could bring you this in October, spooky October, Halloween month. This is by Miguel Garcia, also an author at the Sunshine State Book Festival. Next, we're going to talk about the Clock Reading Challenge. For 2024, I joined in on the Clock Reading Challenge, which was begun over at Jo Linsdell's channel. I'll put a link to her below or tag her below or something. Jo is a friend of mine. We've been writer friends forever, okay? And when I discovered that she was doing this Clock Reading Challenge many years ago, I followed along with with how she did this. And I decided this year I wanted to participate too. This is interesting because there are some authors I would not have discovered, some cool books I would not have read if not for this challenge. The way this challenge is set up, and you can join it this year if you wish. The way this challenge is set up is you look for books that have a number in the title, and the number corresponds to the numbers on the face of the clock. Okay, so you're looking for a 1, a 2, a 3, etc., up through the number 12. Now, I failed at the challenge. There were 2 numbers that I did not find and then purchase the book and get it read in time for, the end of the year. I didn't find a number 8 or a number 11. I've got the others. So, yay. For my first year, I did that much. So I'm going to do the challenge again in 2025, and we'll see how far I get with it. I enjoyed it because I did find some new books, some new authors, some new reads that I enjoyed. I especially liked the One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. You guys, I was so glad that I read these 2 books, this little duology. I was so thankful that I did this challenge because I got to read these 2 books, and I thought they were awesome. I thought they were great. I enjoyed these. So the clock reading challenge was a success for me in that I got to read these books. I found some new books. I found some new books for me to read. And I've read a couple of books that were just sitting on the shelf, right? Like this, we'll get to it in a second here, but this 206 Bones, in the Temperance Brennan series, that had been sitting on my shelf for a little while, a hot minute, and I hadn't gotten to it, and I don't know when I would get to it if not for this challenge. So yay. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the books. Let's do our wrap up and review of what I did for the clock reading challenge in 2024. First of all, the book that's in my hand, One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a fantasy novel. The world building was fantastic and fabulous. A lot of thought and depth went into this. When I did the review for you guys, I talked about, the illustrations and the little poems that happen at the beginning of each chapter, right? Nice. Each chapter has this little rhyming thing that happens, much like a card. It's like you're seeing a card, and the whole card motif is going on throughout, the whole series, the whole duology. Okay. I won't give it away in case you want to read it yourself, which I recommend. Okay. So that one was a number 1 in the challenge. And then for the number 2, it's Two Twisted Crowns, also by Rachel Gillig. And this one finishes up the duology, as it would. Now, book 3 in the clock reading challenge was a bit of a problem for me. The 3-body problem. I'm not going to try to pronounce the author's name again, because back when I looked up how to pronounce it, I still didn't do it right. I did not enjoy this one. I had a lot of problems with it. I did discuss both positive and negatives here when I did the review. It's a pretty long review and discussion that I did here on the channel. You can find it. Not everyone was delighted that I discussed both positives and negatives, and that's fine. That's fine. We did an honest review of the book. You know what I say? My mantra is you can always find something good in a book. So I did discuss some of the good things that I found in the book. But overall, I was not thrilled with this one. But I will tell you guys, because of the clock reading challenge, I forced myself to finish it because of the challenge. And I think that's a good thing. Given the idea that today in society, people aren't finishing books, people aren't even reading books. I mean, this is a pretty long one. Hold please, and I'll tell you how many pages we have here. Oh, this is 416 pages. So that's a pretty beefy book, a pretty beefy novel. There are folks these days who will not read a novel if it's over 400 pages. They won't do it. They won't even pick it up. And that's a shame. That's disappointing to my author soul. So the idea of forcing myself to read the whole thing is good. I'm glad that I did it. I enjoyed the book, but I'm glad that I read it. Okay, now the book number 4 in our clock reading challenge is Four Dragons. It's Stargate SG-1, Four Dragons. And this is another one that was sitting on the shelf. I have a little shelf in the living room next to the television that hasn't been on since 2020. Yeah, 2020 or 2021. I don't remember which. It hasn't been on in a hot minute. I need to take it to the recycling center, the electronics recycling center, and have it recycled. That's what I need to do with that thing. But next to that television, there is a little shelf. And on that little shelf are some Stargate SG-1 books and a couple of Nikki Heat books, the Castle Nikki Heat books, a couple of those. Anyway, the point being, this book has been on that shelf for a hot minute. And would I have gotten to it if not for the clock reading challenge needing a number 4? I don't know. It also has a dragon in the title, for dragons. And so I wanted it for the dragon reading challenge too. So I read it, and I read it in between putting off the 3-body problem. I was not enjoying the 3-body problem, as I just said. And so I would put this down, and then I would pick up something else to read. And then I would pick this back up and read a little bit more, and then pick something else up to read. Okay. I was trying to make myself get through the 3-body problem and reading other stuff that was enjoyable in between. This was thoroughly enjoyable because I'm a huge Stargate nerd. Oh my goodness. Yes. I love me some Stargate. Every time there's like a rumor that the Stargate series is going to be restarted, they're going to do something new with the Stargate series, I'm there for it. I want to see it. I want it to happen. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I fully enjoyed Stargate SG-1, Four Dragons. Can highly recommend. And that was the number 4 on our clock reading challenge. Okay. Next in the clock reading challenge is Five and Dime Christmas, 4 historical novellas. And we did not read this until, I want to say, late October into November. Brought you the review in December twice, filmed it twice, and that's okay. But we have the 5 and we have the 10 in this one. Yeah, I cheated. I used this book for the 5 and the 10 in the clock reading challenge, and I used it for the Christmas reading challenge here on the channel. I enjoyed it very much. Very sweet, lovely, historical romances at Christmas time. Just lovely, sweet stuff. And next up is the number 6. I could have used this for the number 2 as well, but here we go. This is 206 Bones by Kathy Reichs, and this is for the Bones TV series, right? Temperance Brennan is our forensic, what am I trying to say? Our scientist? You guys, that's the best you're getting out of my brain right now. Okay, so 206 Bones. Again, this one was sitting on the shelf waiting for me to get around to reading it. So for the clock reading challenge, I did. There it is. All right. What's next on here? Oh, the 7-Year Slip. This one, you guys, the 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This one would not have been on my radar. It is kind of speculative fiction, kind of contemporary romance. Okay. Not something that I would have looked up. This kind of cover doesn't speak to me. Wrong color, not my colors, right? Okay. It doesn't speak to me. But because Jennifer Brooks recommended it, it was on her list of books she wanted to read in 2024. It's kind of getting to me. Hold on a second, guys. Give me a second to get past that. Okay. Because Jennifer Brooks had it on her list for 2024, and I wanted to pay homage to her. I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm putting it on the list. It's got 7 in it. Perfect. And I'm glad that I did. I got a little emotional doing the review of this one just because of the nature of, you know, especially the book questions at the end that she had come up with in here. They just, man, it struck me. I can recommend this one. Okay. Okay. Then we missed the number 8. Number 8 is not on this stack. There is no number 8. But for number 9, I read 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson. And the subtitle, the tagline is, "When everyone lies, somebody dies." And I like that. That's great. This was a murder mystery. This I picked up because it's got the number 9 in it, but also is by Maureen Johnson. And Maureen Johnson was the author who had my favorite novella, in a Christmas set of novellas from 2023. Track that for a minute. Back in 2023, I brought you guys some Christmas content, and one of those books was something that had been sitting on my shelf for at least a year or two, and in it was a story called Cherry's Jubilee, Christmas Jubilee. Cherry's Jubilee, I think was the name of it. I'm doing this from memory, you guys. I have no notes, which is scary, okay? Anyway, Maureen Johnson had the story I liked best out of that little set. So when I saw her name, I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to read this one. And I'm glad that I did. It's a good murder mystery, okay? There's a lot of little points and pieces to keep track of in here. I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was a standalone. When I picked it, I thought it was a standalone book, but it's actually part of a series, but it is its own standalone story within that series. That makes sense. Okay, like the main character, oh, I've forgotten her name. Hang on. Stevie Bell and her boyfriend David. Okay, so Stevie Bell, she's our main character in here. She is a main character in other books. Okay, there we go. 9 Liars I can recommend. We skipped the number 11. Didn't have an 11 this year, but we had 2 number 12s. Made up for it with 2 number 12s. The first number 12 is Sherlock Holmes and the 12 Thefts of Christmas by Tim Major. And this came from Titan Books, I think. This one is a mystery novel, obviously, because it's a Sherlock Holmes story. It's in the Sherlock Holmes genre. There you go. It's very pretty. Isn't that a nice cover? Look how shiny and pretty that is. Yeah. The other 12 was Edgar Allan Poe's 12 Days of Christmas by Holly Michelle. And this one, I loved the execution. I loved the concept, the idea of all the bits and pieces of Edgar Allan Poe information that were crammed in here. I didn't think it was very pretty. I didn't like the illustrations, but I liked the concept, you guys. It was a cool concept. So hopefully that stack's not going to fall down over there. That was the clock reading challenge that I almost succeeded with in 2024. I'm going to do it again in 2025. So far, I think I've got 3 books. 3 out of 12, you guys. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to need to have some input from you guys throughout the year to bring in some books with numbers in the titles. Yeah. Okay. Like, I don't think I have a lot of books on my shelves already in my possession that have numbers in the titles. I think I used them up for this year's challenge, for last year's, for the challenge that is already done. So now for the challenge to come, we need to bring in some more books. You know of an indie published author or a self-published author who has a book with a number in the title, please recommend that to me. If you would recommend that book, recommend that to me. Let me know about it. I think, as I've mentioned here to you guys already, the audience, the community that watches the Sandy Says Read channel, I think you guys are probably just a little bit higher caliber than your typical X audience. Okay, so if I were to make this request out on X, I don't know that I would get a whole lot of feedback. Right? But you guys probably have feedback for me. You guys probably know of an independent publishing house that has an author with a book that has an 11 in the title, or an 8 in the title, or a 5 in the title. You guys know of this stuff. Share it with me. Let me know. Let me look it up, and I can then purchase that book to support that author and bring it in here and read it and share it with y'all. Share. Let's share in this community, because this is a bookish community. Guys, thumbs up for getting books and reading books from these fabulous festivals that happen around us, and for reading books from these fabulous challenges. It really does expand one's horizons. I mean, it really does. That clock reading challenge, it really does force a person to look for things that you wouldn't otherwise read, you wouldn't otherwise find. Thought it was cool. You guys, thumbs up. And thank you for tuning in.